Alright, so I got recording started. So, alright, there we go. So if you want, Johnny, I'll let you open this up in prayer, then we'll hand it off to Brenda.
All right. So, dear Lord, thank you for bringing us back to study your word again. And we ask that you help us acknowledge what you want us to acknowledge and learn in this study. Give us the knowledge to learn what you want us to learn. Amen.
Amen.
That's this week?
So what,
'Cause
Brenda?
I didn't do anything. I didn't realize I was up yet.
Oh.
That's this week? Because I didn't do anything. I didn't realize I was up. I didn't
Oh,
know this
okay.
was my week.
Yeah, yeah, it was, but that's okay. We can do one of two things. We can go ahead and
Oh,
we can go ahead and just postpone Bible study for a couple weeks, or we can just kind of just go over it, read a little bit and discuss. I mean, we can do either way. It's a pretty simple chapter anyway.
you want. Why don't I? You know what? I could do it for her if I need to.
Yeah.
I
Well,
can make one.
like I said, we can
I
just
mean, I
do a
can,
live
I
Bible
can do
study.
some research.
Well, you know what? How about we do it this way? We'll do it a little bit
Oh,
different this week than what we normally do. Um, is Let me share screen. I'll go ahead and just pull up the chapter on the internet, and we'll do like we do at our Bible study or at our Sunday school. We'll just read a little bit and then we'll discuss it because it's a pretty simple chapter anyway. And then if we decide to, we can pull up, David Guzik and look at that, So we'll just do it that way. We'll do it a little different this time.
Yeah.
Is we'll still get
Okay.
something out of it because I really don't like the idea of canceling Bible study. So we're still going to.
Yeah.
That's all right. We'll do it a little different this time. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Yep, there we go. That's what I want.
just gotta let me know when it's my turn because I never remember when it's my turn.
Okay, that's all right. It's my fault. Maybe I
You
forgot
just gotta
to.
remind me which one
Well, I'll
I'm
tell you
doing
what.
because I
Since we're
never
winning it this way, Johnny's
do.
got 25. I'll give you 26, and we'll
Uh,
just change the order up a little bit. We'll do it that way. So he'll give you 20. We'll give you 26, Brenda, since Johnny did 25, and we're just. Or wait, no. What you got? What chapter did you did 25, right, Johnny, or was it 26 that you did? I'm having a brain fart. You did. Okay, you
all
did 20.
right.
So you got 27, Brenda. We're doing 25 today. Johnny's got 26 for next
Now give me a
week.
couple of weeks
Yeah.
to
So you
work
got
up
plenty of time to.
26.
So you'll have 27. Johnny did 26, so you'll have 27.
Well, if I'm supposed to do 25, then he's probably doing 26.
Yeah, and he's already did the work for 26, so we'll just give you 27. And then we're going to do 25 now. And we're just going to do 25 now.
Okay.
So Genesis 25. Okay. So the death of Abraham. Okay, there we go. Well, all right. We'll just keep taking turns on reading. I'll go ahead and start with this one. I'll have to just scroll as you're reading when we get down, because since we're. Can you guys see this all right?
So we're doing 25.
Yeah, we're doing 25. We're just kind of doing a live study together. So we're just going to read, discuss, and then, if we
Thanks.
decide to look into David Guzik's work, we'll do that too. So We're just going to kind of do a live study. So, but can you guys see the scripture up there okay? I want to make sure the screen's shared. Okay. So,
Yeah, except for that freaking.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see.
yeah, we're going to have
Except
that's going to
that
pop
thing
up
right there.
periodically.
There we go.
All right. Yeah, that's one thing we're just going to have to deal with. So the death of Abraham. Abraham had taken another wife whose name was Keturah. She bore him Zimurah, Joksan, Medan,
Yeah, I can see.
Median,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ishbak, and Shual. So basically, well, I'll continue reading and we'll discuss. So Joksan was a father of Sheba and Dedan. The descendants of Dedan were the Ashurites, the Lethites, and Lemonites. The son of the Median were Ephan, Epher, Hanok, Abida, and Elda. All these were the descendants of Keturah. Abraham left everything he owned to Isaac, but while he was still alive, he gave gifts to the sons of his concubines and sent them away from his son Isaac to the land of the east. Abraham lived 175 years. Then Abraham breathed his last breath and died at a good old age, an old man and full of years. And he was gathered to his people. His sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah near Mamre, in the field of Ephoron, son of Zohar the Hittite. The fields Abraham had brought from the Hittites. There Abraham was buried with his wife Sarah. After Abraham's death, God blessed his son Isaac, who then lived near Beer Lahai Roy, which means something about well, and we'll get to that later. Yeah, that was a lot there. But one thought as I read this week, because you remember how Abraham was old age when he sent Eliezer to get Isaac a wife. I forget what I came up with, but I want to say Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah. Because Abraham was 140 or something like that. I can't remember where I came up with this. But anyway, as we've seen, Abraham lived 175 years, so he definitely lived a little while after Isaac got married. I know where I got this, and we'll get to it later. Because Isaac has a son or something like that. And something about that, Abraham was still alive when Isaac had a son. And we'll get to it later, but I want to say Abraham was 140 when Isaac got married. And we'll just leave it at that because we'll get to that later. So between verse 1 through 4, we're just basically going over his new wife and basically the lineage of that. So do you, Brenda or Johnny, have anything you want to discuss over verse 1 through 4?
No.
I'm trying to figure out how old Abraham was when he took Keturah for his wife.
Yeah. You know what? Let's do something. Let's look up. That's what I said. We'll use David Guzik and let's see if he says anything about that. Because I do believe he did say something along that. I don't know if he's had anything with the age or anything like that, but he was. I want to say he was 140 when. So I don't know. Maybe 150, 160. I'm going off of a guess. So let's do this. So David Guzik's going to join us in our Bible study today. He just don't know it. But it's okay because I was already told by one of his people that it's okay to use his stuff. Basically, and as you can see right here, enduringword.com is where I'm getting all this, so you guys can see where it's coming from. So anybody that's watching this knows where I'm getting this stuff. So Abraham's later day life. Abraham marries again. So Abraham took a wife. This was after the death of Sarah, recorded in Genesis 23, 1 and 2, and 23:19. There was nothing wrong with Abraham taking another wife after Sarah's death. That her name was Keturah. It is easy to forget that Abraham had a second wife, and he fathered 6 more sons after that. So he had a total of 8 sons, because you got to count Isaac and Ishmael. So in total, Abraham had 8 sons: Isaac through Sarah, Ishmael through Hagar, and these 6 through Keturah. Okay, so that's all he's got for verse 1 through 4. So he's not really saying much about the age either, just after Sarah died. So, okay, so, alright, so that's 1 through 4. Abraham left everything he owned to Isaac, because Isaac was the son of the promise. But while he was still alive, he gave gifts to his sons of his concubine and set them away from his son Isaac to the land of the east. And then right here it said, like I said, it said Abraham lived 175 years. So we know how old he lived, and we know he was 100 when he had Isaac. So I mean, those we know for sure at this point. So he lived 75 years after he had Isaac. And I want to say Isaac got married at 40. And like I said, I know somewhere we're going to see that. I want to say he was 40. So we're going to say Abraham was 140 when he had Isaac. So then he lived another 35 years after that. And then right here, okay, you guys got anything you want to discuss over what we read so far?
No, I don't got nothing.
No, I don't.
Okay. This part here is interesting to look at. So his sons, Isaac and Ishmael. Now, like I said, now you notice he had other sons, but he's only talking about Isaac and Ishmael, so his, I guess we'll call his main sons. They buried him in the cave of Meshpah near Mira in the field of Eshon's son. So if you remember back, I want to say a few chapters ago, it might have been the last chapter when Sarah died. You remember how Abraham went to buy a field to bury his wife? And that's going to be the field for all his descendants. So that's why they pulled this out, just to remind us that this is the field that he bought specifically for his wife, and now he's going to get buried in the same spot. And later on in the Bible, you'll see Isaac also gets buried there and I do believe Jacob and so forth and so on. But yep, the field that Abraham had bought from the Hittites. There, Abraham was buried with his wife Sarah. And after Abraham's death, God blessed his son Isaac, who then lived near Bir Lahi Roy. And then we'll leave it there. Okay, you guys got anything on up to verse 11?
No.
No.
Okay. So, okay, there we go. So, Brenda, I'll let you read Ishmael's son, so verse 12 through 18. And then we'll discuss, and anywhere while you're reading, if there's anything you want to pull out or discuss in between, feel free to pause, question, discuss, whatever you want to do. Because like I said, we're just doing a live study, so if while you're reading something pulls out to you, feel free to stop and discuss and then continue later.
Okay. Ishmael's sons. This is the account of the family line of Abraham's son Ishmael, whom Sarah's slave Hagar the Egyptian bore to Abraham. These are the names of the sons of Ishmael, listed in the order of their birth. Nebael, the firstborn of Ishmael, Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hadid, Timur, Zeter, Naphish, and Kedemah. Boy, those all sound like Arab names, don't they?
Yeah.
The heck?
And that would make sense because remember,
These were the
Sorry,
sons.
sorry.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, Ishmael is the father of the Arab nation, but didn't really think about it. But those names sound Arab even.
Yeah.
These were the sons of Ishmael, and these are the names of the 12 tribal rulers according to their settlements and camps. Okay, scroll up. Ishmael lived 137 years. He breathed his last and died, and he was gathered. Hello. And he gathered to his people. His descendants settled in the area from Havilah to Shur, near the eastern border of Egypt, as you go toward Asher, and they lived in hostility toward all the tribes related to them. Yeah, that's kind of what the Arab nation does now. They're pretty hostile towards anybody that's not part of their tribe. So it doesn't make sense that people would think that he's the father of the Arab nation, because that describes the Arab nation right there to a T.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree.
Mm-hmm. Now, what I'd like to know is why the Arabs are so hostile towards all the rest of the people. It's like, what did we do to them that they don't even like us?
Well, I just got a thought, and this is
That's what I want to know.
I got a thought, and this is just a thought. But I know you've heard the phrase like father, like son. Well, Ishmael was a father, and if you remember, I'm pretty sure he felt pretty unloved and all that because Isaac was the son of the promise, the promised land and all that. But yet Ishmael was the firstborn. So wouldn't you assume that he might have had a little bit of hostility towards Isaac?
That's what I was thinking. I was just about to say that maybe it's because he felt he was angry because he wasn't picked to rule the promised land. And yeah, like you said, like father, like son, the sons of the father is going to go down throughout the tribes or throughout the lineage
Yeah.
until somebody puts a stop to it,
Yeah.
which apparently nobody has right now.
Yeah. And apparently it's still going on to this day because obviously it's still going on like that.
Uh-huh.
So. Okay, so let's see if there's anything here worth pulling out. Because it seems like right now we're just doing a lot. Yeah, because it's just basically lineage. So let's just scroll through here, see if there's anything worth pointing out. Whose son Sarah slave Hagar. Then these are the names. And these were the sons of Ishmael. Yeah, it looks like it's just. Okay, yeah. It's just. Give me 1 sec so he left blocks out. Okay, again, teaching doll.
It's interesting that Ishmael had 12 sons, just like Abraham had 12 sons. Wait. Just like Israel had 12 sons. Jacob, Israel had 12 sons. Ishmael also had 12 sons. And each one of them became a nation too.
Good.
Kind of interesting that number 12 comes up again right here before Jacob was ever born.
Yeah. Yeah, and 12 seems to be a very important number in the Bible because remember Genesis, we had 24 elders and 12 was the tribes of Israel and 12 were the 12 disciples. We haven't gotten to the tribes of Israel yet, but was that, yeah, that did come from Jacob or was it from one of Jacob's? Yeah, it was from Jacob, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we're going to get there here pretty shortly. So.
Should be coming up about the 26th chapter or 27th chapter.
Yeah, I want to say it should be coming up here before too long because I think the next chapter, if it's either the next chapter or it's this chapter, that we start talking about Jacob and Esau, how Jacob stole Esau's inheritance. But yeah, we're going to get to that. I think it's either this chapter or the next chapter. But I know that's coming up here pretty soon. So you got anything else between on the Ishmael's sons, on the lineage of Ishmael?
No, that's all I have.
All right, Johnny, I'll give you... Okay, so... I'm not sure how to break this up, Johnny, so I'm going to give you...
Want me to read?
We're at Jacob and Esau. I'm going to give you 19. I'm going to let you either read till the end of the chapter or until you feel like it's a good... or until you or one of us feels like it's a good stopping point to discuss. So I'll have you start at 19 and continue till... Seems like a good stopping point or until the end of the chapter and then we'll discuss. Because this really is a pretty simple chapter anyway, so it's probably a good chapter to do it this way anyway.
Okay. So this is the account of the family line of Abraham's son Isaac. Abraham becomes the father of Isaac. And Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel and Araman from Padan Aram and sister of Laban the Araman.
Okay,
Isaac prayed
we're
to
gonna
the
stop
Lord.
right there for a second. All right, just for 1 second. Okay, I told you I got that from somewhere. Now I can tell you where I got it from. So Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah. Now, if you remember, Abraham was 100 when he had Isaac. So if Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, how old was Abraham when Isaac married Rebekah?
So he would be 140.
Yeah. So that's where I got that from. And then I think he lived to
So
be 100.
Abraham would have 35 years to be married, to get married again and have those other sons.
Yeah.
He'd have 35 years to do that all in.
Yeah. And who knows if he did it right when, like I said, because the Bible doesn't say when. But I would assume, since we read that before it said this, I'm going to go off of a limb, and like I said, and this is just thoughts, like I said, because Scripture's not backing it up, so I can't say it's true. I can't say it's not true, but he could have very well got remarried when Isaac got remarried, because remember, got when Isaac got married, it comforted him from his loss of his mother. So wouldn't we assume that maybe Abraham done the same thing? He got remarried to comfort him from the loss of his wife. So, and it's just a thought. I
That
could
would
be
make
wrong. I could be
sense.
wrong.
I mean, I think there are other men that probably do that when they lose their spouse. I think some of them just marry so that they're not alone. Honestly, I think that's how. Not to mention any names, but that one guy from that I know from church,
Yeah.
I think he did that a lot. He was married like 3 times.
And he
I
was
think it
looking
was
for
just
another
because he
wife.
didn't want to be alone.
Yeah. And he was looking for another wife before
Uh
he passed away. And he was like 95 years old. Yeah, get this, Johnny. This guy, like I said, like Brenda said, we're not going to give a name. This guy was 95 years old and still looking for another wife.
huh. I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was looking for another wife.
Yeah, he was looking for another wife yet. At least that's what I heard anyway. He was a great guy, great Christian guy. Ain't no doubt he made it to heaven. So I'm sure if he's listening to us talk now, he's probably
Yeah.
just laughing at us.
Knowing him, he probably is, because he always had that impish grin on his face anyway.
Yeah. So, all right, you guys got anything else before I let Johnny continue on? I want to stop there because right there is where I got that 40 from. I knew I got it from somewhere. I just couldn't remember where. But I knew I got it from the Bible.
No, that's all I have.
All right, Johnny, I'll go ahead and let you continue at verse 21 then.
Okay, because I lost track. Okay, now here we go. Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was childless. The Lord answered his prayer, and his wife, Rebekah, became pregnant. The babies jostled each other within her, and she said, "Why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire of the Lord. The Lord said to her, Two nations are in your womb, and two peoples from within you will be separated. One people will be stronger than the other. Holy moly. And the older will serve the younger.
Okay, let's pause there for a minute. Since this is so lengthy, we'll probably just do that. We're gonna keep pausing periodically like that, especially when there's something worth discussing. Now I've noticed something out of this one. I want to see. I'm trying to give you and Brenda a chance to pull some of this out because I'm trying not to be the one saying everything. But there's something important here that's worth pointing out.
I got something.
All right, go ahead. What do you got, Johnny?
Hold up. He told her one people will be stronger than the other, and then that the older will serve the younger. Holy.
Yeah. Now, what's so unique about what you just said? That the older will serve the younger. What's unique about that? What makes that odd?
I'm trying to think of something. That's like.
That's exactly what happened. Because Esau.
That's like a brother and sister bond.
I think Esau
Kind of.
was the first that came out, so he would be like the older, and Jacob was the second one, so he would kind of like be younger.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Holy
But
smoke!
ain't it usually the other
That
way
caught
around,
my
where
eye
usually
right
the
there.
younger serves the older,
Uh,
not the older serving the younger?
but that's exactly what happened because
Yeah.
Esau ends up serving Jacob instead of Jacob serving Esau. I always figured that was because he sold his birthright to Jacob.
Yeah, I'm with you on that too. Now here's something other. Now remember, you got Isaac and Ishmael, how they were two separate nations. Don't you see a little bit of a repeat here going on with Isaac's sons that Abraham's sons went through? And you're going to see more repeats as we go on.
Yeah, because in a way, Ishmael was the older one, but Ishmael actually served the younger, Isaac.
Wasn't look at that way, but that's an interesting concept, yeah. And that's exactly pretty much what happened,
That
yeah.
might, that might be the reason why the Arab nation, Ishmael and his sons didn't like other people because Ishmael was the older, but he was the one that had to serve Isaac
Mm.
and
Yeah.
bow down to Isaac instead of the other way around.
But now here's the other interesting part I was wanting to point out. Two nations are in her womb. The two nations, because wasn't Isaac and Ishmael basically two separate nations? And look what's happening again.
Yeah, because I think Esau is he's the one. I think Ephraim comes from Esau.
Mm.
The nation of Ephraim comes from Esau. And of course, Israel comes from Jacob.
Yeah. And so that was, and then there was another repeat here that, because remember, I made the comment earlier, like father, like son, we're seeing a lot of what Abraham went through, that Isaac's going through a lot, and he's going to go through a few more things that, so we're going to see a few more repeats that Isaac's going through that Abraham went through. Now remember, Sarah, she wasn't able to have a son, and she had one later in life. How she was, not basically not able to have a child, but was blessed with a child. Well, Rebecca was the same way because Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was childless. Remember, Sarah was also childless. The only repeat he's not doing here is Isaac's not getting a concubine, or Rebecca's not saying, well, here's one of our slave concubines. Go have a child with her. She's not doing that. That part's not being repeated. But the fact that she was childless and Sarah was childless, Abraham had to suffer with his wife not being able to have a child. So Ishmael or Isaac is also having to deal with his wife not being able to have a child. Although it doesn't say that she had to wait longer in years like Sarah did, so everything's not exactly the same. But we're still seeing a lot of repeats in Isaac that we've seen in Abraham, which I'm finding very interesting.
Interesting that history keeps repeating itself in this family line.
Yeah. And it's going to happen at least a couple more times, and I'm not trying to jump ahead, but we're going to see again later on.
Which makes me wonder why these things keep repeating in this family line.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder what was God trying to teach them that they weren't getting, that he had to keep going over and over again.
Alright. Alright, so we got anything else before I let Johnny continue on?
I don't.
No, I can continue. Where are we at again?
We
I
got
lost track.
24.
24, okay. When the time came for her to give birth, there were twin boys in her womb. Oh wow, okay. The first to come out was red and his whole body was like a hairy garment, so they named him Esau. Okay.
That'll come in handy later.
After this, his brother came out with his hand grasping Esau's heel. So he was named Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when Rebekah gave birth to them. Holy moly. The boys grew up and Esau became a skillful hunter and a man of the open country, while Jacob was the content to stay at home among the tents. Interesting.
Did you want to discuss before we continue on, or do you want to continue on?
A hairy garment. Huh.
Yeah. Alright, we'll pause there.
You mean when he came out he was hairy?
Yeah,
that's
and I'll go ahead. Well, we're going to read it anyway, and this is where it's good to know what was in the past and what's in the future, because as I said, you're talking about being hairy. That's going to come in handy later because Jacob is going to trick Isaac into thinking he's Ishmael or he's Esau, because he's going to steal Esau's inheritance. So he's going to trick Isaac, because Isaac at this point he's not going to be able to see well. He's only going to be able to go off feel, and Isaac was not hairy, but Ishmael was.
Actually, it was Rebecca that did the tricking.
Yeah.
She made sure she didn't want, she had Jacob go along with her, but Rebecca was really the one that tricked Isaac.
Yeah, she was. But the hairy part is basically what I'm pointing out, is that's where the trickery is going to come in, is, because Isaac was hairy, he was a gamer, and Jacob, I'm trying to remember, what was Jacob? I'm trying to remember what it was he did. I don't know if it's said, but anyway, he wasn't really a hunter or a gamer. He was
content to stay at home among the tents. I can't remember what it was that he did when he was at the tents.
But anyway, the point is, it was the exact opposite of what Esau did. It was nothing like what Esau did.
Jacob was a smooth man, and Jacob was really a smooth man. He didn't really have much hair.
Okay. I kept thinking Abraham was alive when his grandsons were born, but obviously he wasn't, because if Isaac got married at 40 and he had his sons at 60, then that would make Abraham 200, and he didn't live that old. So when I said Abraham was still around when his grandsons were born, I got to rephrase that, and obviously he wasn't.
So Abraham was 140 when Isaac was 40?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, because Abraham was 100 when he bore Isaac, and Isaac got married at 40, which made Abraham 140 when Isaac got married, and Isaac apparently 60 years later.
And Isaac had 20 boys when he was
90.
66. That would make Abraham 166. So he'd still be alive.
No, Isaac, he was 40 when he got married. So listen to this.
Yeah.
He was 60. Oh, never mind. He was 60 years old. Yeah, you're right. I was thinking 60 years later. No, he was 60 when he had. So you're right. Yeah, that's right. Abraham was still alive. You're right. Because he would have been 160. Yeah. So he would have saw his grandson. So I was right on that. Yeah. Okay. I was thinking
Makes you
60
wonder
years later. No, he was.
why. Makes you wonder why Abraham. He must have been around Isaac and Jacob and Esau, and why he didn't see a lot of what was going on. You know, a lot of things that was being repeated in Isaac's life that he did that was in his life. Why he didn't see the repeat that Isaac was doing.
I'm sure he did. It just not meant. It just doesn't talk about him really saying anything about it. I'm sure he's seen it.
Yeah, that's why I meant. Why wasn't he speaking up and trying to keep it from happening?
Yeah.
You'd think as a father you would stand up and say, "Hey, Isaac, I see this going on in your life, and this is what happened to me. I want you to learn from my mistakes so you don't repeat it."
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of like, why does America keep repeating stuff that we know didn't work in the past, but we do the definition of insanity, where we do the same thing but expecting a different result.
Yeah.
All right. So you got anything else on this, or?
I don't.
I don't.
All right. So we'll continue at verse 27.
Okay. Oh yeah, I already finished that part. Okay. So Isaac, who had a taste for wild game, loved Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Once when Jacob was cooking some stew, and it's making me hungry, Esau came in from the open country famished. Oh my goodness. He said to Jacob, "Quick, let me have some of that red stew. I want some too. I'm famished." This is why he was also called Edom. Oh my goodness. Uh, Jacob replied, "First sell me your birthright." "Look, I am about to die," Esau said. Uh-oh. "What good is the birthright to me?" What the heck? But Jacob said, "Swear to me first." So he swore an oath to him, selling his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau some bread and some lentil stew. Oh, that sounds good. He ate and drank. Oh my goodness. And then got up and left. So Esau despised his birthright. Oh,
So
yum.
yeah, there's a lot there. So let's go
Well,
back up.
basically, Jacob was like a cook.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get off topic. I'm just hungry. I haven't eaten yet.
Hey, you're all right.
Esau was the hunter, so Jacob was more like a cook. He stayed around the tents, but he was more like a cook. He did the cooking.
Yeah. Well, apparently he did such a good job of cooking that Esau was willing to sell his birthright for us. So that must have been some pretty good cooking if you're going to sell your birthright for some stew.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because there's a lot to discuss here, so let's go ahead and start breaking this down, because we've only got a few verses here to discuss. So the boys grew up, and Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the open country, while Jacob was content to stay at home amongst the tent. So yeah, it makes sense. Him being a cook, basically a stay-home father or stay-home son or whatever you want to call it.
Stay at home.
Yeah. So Isaac, who had a taste for wild game, loved eat. Oh, so Isaac had. So he had a taste for wild game, but Esau wasn't one. So Esau did all the. So it sounds here like Esau did all the hunting. And who know? He probably did all the hunting. He probably did all the skinning and all that. And Isaac did all the cooking, but I'm sure Esau did all the hunting and prepping, and then let Isaac cook the food. Is kind of how I'm reading it here.
So Isaac had a taste for wild game. That's probably why Esau was his favorite then, because he was the hunter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And maybe that's why Rebecca loved Jacob, because he preferred to stay around the tent, so she probably made him kind of like girly,
Yeah.
teaching him all the stuff that a woman does around the tents.
Yeah. And then Jacob obviously loved Esau. I don't know if I said that, but anyway, it's so then once when Jacob was cooking some stew, Esau came in from the open country, famished. Okay, I said it wrong. So Esau did all the hunting and cooking, but Jacob is probably the one that did the cooking, but Esau's the one that did all the hunting and prepping it. But once Jacob was cooking some stew, Esau came in from the open country, famished. So obviously, now see here the Bible's not saying much. It just says he was famished. So famished, I'm assuming also means he was basically starving, because he's been out. He's been working really hard. And it also says, I think it said later, and we'll get to it, that he was to the point of death.
Okay. Yeah, and Edom, that's the nation that that came from
Well,
Esau. Edom, not Ephraim,
Yeah.
but Edom.
Yeah. Famished. That's why he was okay. Yeah. So then Jacob replied, first.
I never,
Yeah, go ahead.
I never understood the difference between birthright and blessing. Because to me, they're one and the same, and I don't really get what the difference is there.
You know what? I don't know if I'm getting the answers, but let's see if Google can give us anything on that. What is the difference between first right and blessing?
According to the Jerusalem Post, the birthright thus had to do with spiritual direction, whereas the blessings had to do with material superiority. When the Almighty elected Abraham, both elements were included in the divine charge. I shall make you a great nation. I shall bless you and I shall make your name great, Jen.
That didn't really make any sense, because that seems the exact opposite of what this is saying here. Because he said, first sell me your birthright, and it's saying birthright had to do with spiritual, but here birthright seems like that's talking about material stuff. So Google really didn't help on that, in my opinion.
Unless it had something to do with Jacob was trying to get him to sell his birthright, which in this term would be, because Esau came out first, he would be the first one to get the blessing from Isaac when Isaac was old and about ready to die. But because Esau sold him his birthright, Jacob ended up getting the blessing.
Yeah. So Jacob basically winds up with a birthright and a blessing.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Esau wasn't very happy about all this, I'm sure. Because it says here, look, I am about to die. So he's famished, so he's starving. to the point of death. Oh. Okay, then but Jake. Give me 1 second. Alexa, shut up. Alexa, shut up.
Alexa.
That's what I wonder.
Yeah, I got a fire
name
cube.
was Black.
Fire cube. Just got Alexa built into it. She was telling me about Bible study at 3 because I had her set me a reminder every Sunday.
Oh.
Oh, I thought you got another dog.
Yeah. All right, and then but Jacob, because Jacob's persistent, he says, "Swear to me first." So he swore an oath to him, selling him his birthright to Jacob. I'm losing my train of thought. So you guys got anything on that? Esau.
No,
That might
I'm just hungry.
be the reason why Rebecca just went ahead with the deception to Isaac to make sure that Jacob was the one that got the blessing, since Esau sold his birthright, if that's what birthright means.
Yeah. And also fits in with the older will serve the younger, because it's already starting right here, right away.
Yeah.
But I just want to sit here and ponder on this for a minute. You know, birthright, that was big back then. You know, that was a big deal. But Esau, as we can see here, it doesn't seem like Esau really cares too much about his birthright. He's starving, and clearly he's not thinking straight. Because why? What in your? I mean, just give me your guys' opinions. What makes? What? Why would you think Esau would think that it's okay to sell his birthright for just something to eat? It's like saying, I'm starving, I'm going to go to McDonald's and here's $100, give me a cheeseburger and fries. I mean, why?
Oh, dang, I want McDonald's.
I mean, I'm just trying to
Okay,
understand what went through Esau's mind here.
Okay, that makes sense. I just googled birthright. It says in the scriptures, birthright usually refers to the right of the son born first in the family to inherit his father's possessions and authority.
Okay.
In ancient Israel, for example, all the sons received some of their father's property, but the firstborn received a double portion and became the leader of the family. So by Esau selling his birthright to Jacob, he forfeited that right, so that actually Jacob got the double portion instead of Esau,
Yeah.
which would have rightfully went to Esau. But since he sold it to Jacob, Jacob ended up getting that.
Yeah. But I'm just sitting here thinking, so wouldn't you guys think that Esau really didn't care about his birthright? I mean, to be able to just up and sell it that easily?
Well, he must have really, really been hungry. So when you're that hungry, you're not really thinking straight.
Yeah, clearly he wasn't thinking straight.
Only after he probably got fed and got nourished and full did he really think about what he did.
Yeah.
And then it was too late.
Well, and it says right here, let's read 34. Then Jacob gave Esau some bread and some lentil stew. Then he ate and drank and then got up and left. So, and it says this is scriptural. So Esau despised his birthright. That's wow. So Esau really can care less about he didn't even care about his birthright, according to Scripture. So now I'm curious because I know David Guzik said something pretty interesting about this.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. He didn't really, or he didn't really.
Okay, here we go. So this is what David Guzik says. That Esau despised his birthright. Esau's character as a fornicator and profane person, according to Hebrews 12:16, and we'll look at that here in a second, shows God was entirely correct in choosing Jacob over Esau to carry on the birthright, even though Jacob was younger. Thus, Esau's character was not the basis for God's choosing. He chose Jacob over Esau before they were born. Esau's character unlimitedly showed the wisdom of God's choice. Now, Hebrews, this is going to be in King James here, but Hebrews 12:16 reads, "Lest there be any fornicator or profane person like Esau, who for one morsel of food sold his birthright." Yeah. So you guys got anything else? Because that's it for this chapter. Like I said, it really was kind of a short and simple chapter, so I think this was a good chapter to kind of just wing it on.
That's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay.
That was quick.
So I'm going to put this out there because obviously, we love input. So, because this is going to be on YouTube and it's also going to be on Facebook. So, leave a comment if you like the way we did it this way, if you want to see more like this, or if you like it better when, we go through the time. So, basically just let us know if you want to see more study like this. Now, we're not going to do it like this every week, but if you like the way we did this, leave a comment. And periodically, on some of the simpler chapters, we'll kind of do it this way where we'll just basically read a little bit, discuss, and just kind of do like a live Bible study like we did today. I think some chapters it's going to be okay with, but some chapters really need some in-depth study. But chapters like this, I think, was okay for this. Because it's not like, all chapters in the Bible are important, don't get me wrong. But some chapters, there's just not a whole lot there. So, like this one, I think was a good one for discussion. Because obviously, if you would have studied, think about it. We would have basically studied the heritage, which would have been an interesting study. But let's face it, really, what kind of relevance is it to look up all these? It's in the Bible, so it's important. Don't get me wrong. But I don't see the need to sit here and look up every family tree. We can do it, and it'd be more like for entertainment purposes and kind of show lineage, but that's about the only reason to do that. So
the only other reason would be to figure out which one of the sons, which nation each one of the sons actually the nations come from.
That's another thing. You can look into the nations, and so there'd be some interesting factors, but biblically, and like I said, I'm trying to watch my words because I really don't want to say the wrong thing. We're talking to the Bible, but biblically, it's more a historical entertainment information, but I don't see what it really would have to do with leading towards Jesus or anything like that. But it is in the Bible, so obviously it's got an importance. I just don't see, at least I don't feel led to see the importance to really do an in-depth study on that, because if we go do all the study on all the lineage, we can spend about 3 years doing that or a year doing that easily. But that's going to take us away from the important study, which is we look at the Bible to see Jesus. We don't look at the Bible to see entertainment or just historical information, which nothing wrong with that. But the main focus is we're focusing on Jesus and what this has to do with Jesus. Now, a lot of the Old Testament, it's stories, but they all lead to Jesus, and a lot of it links into the New Testament, and they kind of go hand in hand. But I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, and I don't want to say it's not important because it's in the Bible, so it's obviously important.
Well, these are important in that it tells the other children that Abraham had. It lets us know that Abraham did have another wife. He did have other sons, but it's not important enough to take away from the main source of what we're studying, which is Isaac and Jacob and the lineage there, which eventually leads to Christ.
Yeah. And I think what the importance on this is the covenant that God made to Abraham, that he's going to be the father of nations. And then as we're going to find out later, that also leaks down to Isaac, which is lineage from Abraham, that he's also going to be the father of many nations, as we're already seeing. So that's where a lot of the lineage is. It's just confirmation of God's covenant, because when God makes a promise, when he makes a promise, he keeps a promise. He never breaks his promise. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So, all right, Johnny. So you like going last, right? So, Brenda, do you want to go first or second?
I'll go first.
All right, I'll let you go, and then I'll go, and then we'll let Johnny finish off. Oh, gosh dang it, it didn't record. Son of a gun.
Oh.
You know what, that's okay. It was still good to go over it, so.
Yeah.
Alright.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this time we had of spending in your word. And even though this chapter doesn't seem to be as important as the rest of them, it is important historically for us to learn to get a good grasp on Esau and Jacob and just exactly how they came into being and what their role plays. It helps us to understand just exactly what was going on and what happened and why it happened and why Esau sold his birthright and Jacob wanted it, and help us now to learn to study it more on our own and to really get into what it means, and be with us as we go away and keep us safe until the next time we come back. In Jesus' name I pray.
Dear Lord, once again, we just thank you for an opportunity to go through your word, Lord. The fact that you just go to show us that when you promised Abraham that he was going to be the father of many nations, Lord, that you're showing proof of that in the Bible, that you don't just keep your word, but you show proof of your word, Lord. And it just goes to show us, Lord, that we can trust you. Lord, if there's anybody in this world that we can trust, you're the one that we can trust. And we just thank you for the fact that you're showing us stuff that we may not have thought of before, which is the reason why we have Bible studies, is do you see somebody else that might have seen something that we didn't, Lord? So I thank you for Brenda and Johnny, Lord, to what they bring to the table, Lord. And even if this didn't record, Lord, that it's still good to get into your word, Lord, that even if we just get into it for ourselves, sometimes that's okay too. But Lord, once again, I thank you for everything that you have done and everything that you will do.
Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us here to study your word. It was fun. And we ask that you just help us learn what you want us to learn and keep us safe as we go about our week and bring us back the next time we come back safely so we can study your word again. Amen.
Amen. Yeah, I don't know why I. You know what? I bet you what. No, it's still recording. Okay, so it still shows it's recording. So maybe it is. Okay, so it is still recording. It